Hey everybody, Scapo here, and this is an unboxing of the Phillips Fidelio X2s. Now, I purchased these headphones because I really enjoyed the Fidelio X1s, which you can see right here. They're really dusty, but other than that, I mean, these things are just over a year old, and they're they don't have much signs of wear and tear on them. In fact, beyond the slight warping of the head pads here to fit my head, I would say they have no signs of actual aging, except right here on the headband, which is leather, and this is actually where I've been a little bit rough with it because of the way I store it when I'm not using them. But other than this little cosmetic damage, these things have held up really well. They're very versatile and they're very hardy headphones. So when they announced the X2s, I was like, well, I'll hold off on getting them for now until I hear some reviews come in. And now some reviews have come in, but there's a caveat, and I'll tell you why. If you look on Amazon, these headphones have actually fallen in price a lot, and there's a good reason for that. Not too long ago, Woox Innovations, I'm not even sure if that's how you say it. If you look it up, it looks like Woox. It's Woox or Woox. Woox Innovations were the ones that were making this headphone for Phillips, and Phillips not long ago decided to drop its consumer electronics division and to focus more on healthcare and lighting and things like that. So Phillips sold Woox, the people who originally made the X1s over here, to a company called Gibson, the Gibson brand group. And those of you in the music industry might recognize them as people that make guitars and things like that. So you would think that they know what they're talking about and they know what they're doing. Unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be the case. So Gibson is now licensed to somehow to make this headphone still under the Philips Fidelio name. So you're kind of being tricked, you see, because the people who originally made the X1s, those aren't the people that are making it anymore. It's Gibson branded. So you'll get two types of Philips Fidelio X2s. You'll get the Gibson model and you'll get the Woox model. And if you look on reviews and if you do some research, people that have gotten Gibson models have actually warned against, even messing with the headphones if they've got Gibson on the box. And I read these and my heart just sank. I was like, oh no, do I have a Gibson model? And it turns out I do. I've got one of the Gibsons, and the reason you'll know is if you look right next to the barcode. Let me see if I can get the camera to focus. Come on, buddy. There you go. Oh no, come on. There you go. Gibson Innovations. You can kind of see it when the camera finally does focus. It's right there. Gibson Innovations, right under the barcode. So it's right there. If my camera would focus, it's not cooperating right now. There it is. Right. And it seems like they tried to hide it with this ridiculous extra barcode. Anyway, so you've got the Gibson model and the Woox model, and apparently I got the wrong model. In any case, right now it's retailing for $333 on Amazon.com. And 175 175 British pounds. They are an open back headphone, so if you have them, people next to you will hear what you're listening to, but that doesn't matter to me because I work from home. Now, the problems to look for on the Gibson model versus the Woox model, apparently you get glued ear pads and just shoddy ear pad construction. The top of the inner headband will not be manufactured properly, and some people have said that the Fidelio plate on the cable will be detached. So let's just go ahead and open this thing and see what we can see. Right, so I've got my trusty little knife, right, and there is a seal on the box. It's a fresh unit from Gibson, though it may be. And oh dear, there we go. And we're gonna go ahead and try and get this thing out. Here we go. It just slides right on up. And I'm gonna go ahead and put that over here. Now this is, I believe, a 30 ohm headphone, so you won't need an amplifier to drive it if you don't want one. I personally do have a DAC and amp. I've got the shit stack, which I love, but you don't need that for these headphones. Now, look at that. I like the presentation. It's nice. Okay, you got your silica here. You gotta throw that away. Don't let your kids or your pets get at that, because that could hurt them. And there they are. Let's go ahead and see what else we get in the box. Let's put him up there with his brother. And we get, oh dear, I'm gonna have to pull this thing out. Here we go. Yes, yes, all the that's what she said jokes. Alright, there we go. And we're gonna get rid of the box. Whoops, sorry about that. So you've got the lovely brochure here, where Fidelio tells you how awesome these headphones are, or maybe they're not. We will see. Okay, we're gonna put that over here. And you've got the cable and your 1/4-inch jack. Now, interesting thing about the cables, I'm not going to take that out now because it's just going to cause a ton of noise. The interesting thing about the Fidelio cables on the X1, they had a ridiculously high impedance, so you actually did need an amp to drive these things. Soon after I got the headphones, I just got sick and tired of having to turn up the amp all the way, so I went and I got a V-motor cable, which is right here. I sourced a V-motor cable, which has a much lower impedance, and it's much easier to get current through this, but the sound quality is still really good. And you can head on over to V-motor's website and you can get these things, and they are freaking indestructible, man. They're Kevlar coated and they're great. I love V-motor cables. I love V-motor headphones as well. I own a pair of the M80s. In any case, they say that the cable on the X2s is a much lower impedance. So we're gonna test that. I'm gonna test that and see if it's true or not. But we'll see. Now, aside from the build quality, I mean, I'm looking at the build quality. It seems nice enough. Yeah, look at that. This is all. I think that's. Is that plastic or aluminum? This is aluminum. This ring here, definitely. And the mesh here is definitely aluminum as well. And yeah, they feel solid enough. Maybe I lucked out and got a good pair. Let's see, we're going to check on the inside of the headband here. Oh, I think I lucked out. I got a Woox copy. I know you probably can't see it. I'm going to try and get it up. No, you can't see it. No way. My webcam is not that good. But if you look under the ear cup, the left ear cup here, you'll see the serial number and made in China and all that stuff. And at the top it says Woox, which is a good thing. That's fantastic. I'm actually quite glad to hear that, because apparently some people out there on the internet have lucked out and they've gotten a Woox set that have been in a Gibson box. So I'm actually very happy at that. That's great. Now, differences between the X1s and the X2s. Of course, one is silver and the other is black. Oh, jeez. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, I kind of like the silver more. because it's got more contrast and it kind of just looks cooler. Also, the headband on the silver, you may or may not be able to see it with the camera. The headband on the silver is brown, while the headband on the all black ones is just black. And I kind of wish they would have kept the brown on brown look, or the brown on silver look, because oh, that, that's classy. I love that. It doesn't feel like they just, you know it doesn't feel like they were lazy and just used all black, because the all black does look good too. I just really wish that they would have stayed with the silver on brown. So other than that, you've got the self-adjusting headband, which some people don't like. I personally love it. At first I didn't like it because I thought it maybe looked silly, but if these are going to be just used on the inside, which they will do, you're not going to care, because you're just going to be sitting by yourself and in your office. Now, that's interesting. The actual cushions are a bit stiffer actually than they are on the X1, which is disappointing. Maybe it's just because they're new and they need to be broken in. That's fine. But overall, they feel really nice. They don't make any noise when you shake them, which is, a good sign. They plug in using just a regular 3.5 millimeter jack, which I love. I love that about these headphones, because I have a bad habit of getting up while I work to go and use the bathroom or get more tea, and I'll forget that I have them on my head, which is a good thing because they're comfortable, but I also have a tendency to yank against this joint, and I will frequently kind of just pull out the jack. And before I started getting headphones that had that, I would always put too much stress on that jack and break the headphones. So of course you've got your left and your right channels here. It's important to make sure you put them on the correct ear, or you'll get reverse surround sound. And of course you've got the Phillips Fidelio logo running along the top. And yeah, I'm actually really glad I got a Woox copy. I mean, I'm gonna give them a listen anyway and see if the sound is up to scratch, because apparently the Gibson copies are really muddy and just awful. But we're gonna see. I'm gonna get this knife out of the way before I cut myself. Okay, so problems to look for on the Gibson copies is glued ear pads, and oh wait, I already said that. In any case, geez, they are a little bit glued, aren't they? One of the big selling points of the X2s is removable ear pads, which the X1s do not have, which is really irritating. Some people said that, these are actually glued into place, and they were for me. I don't know if you just saw, but yeah, it's got glue on them, which is not supposed to happen. You're not supposed to have glue on removable ear pads, and you can see it's supposed to be removable because it's got the align pin and X left and stuff, and my camera is just really not playing nice. That's irritating. In any case, you can see the glue, and oh dear, and on the actual pegs the glue is still there, which is, that drives me nuts. In any case, angled driver. So the angled driver is supposedly supposed to send the sound waves into your ear at a more natural angle to make you believe you're listening to speakers and not headphones. Let's see if I can get this back on. Oh dear. Here we go. And boom, they just go back on like that. Yeah. So, yeah. Overall, I'm impressed with the build quality so far. The glue inside the headbands, that is making me a little bit nervous. I'm gonna have a listen to these. Apparently the Gibson copies are very muddy and they're not nearly as clear as they're supposed to be, because the X2s are supposed to fix some of the sound problems that the X1s had. Now, mind you, I love the sound on the X1s. These things are great. And I hardly ever take them off my head, but I will admit the mids to lows, kind of that range. Not quite the bass and not quite the middle, but the area in between can be a little bit muddy. So the X2s were supposed to fix that, among some other sound issues that people had, and also the removable ear pads, which people love because if you're going to have a headphone for a long time, you want to be able to replace these ear pads because they do wear down, and it doesn't take very long. Like I said, I've only had these for about a year, and you can see how, you know, they're not terrible yet, but they collect dust like no one's business, and they are a little bit deformed. So I'll want to replace them eventually. I wouldn't have replaced them yet, but eventually I would have felt the need. I think they should be good for at least another, you know, 3 to 5 years if you take care of them. So in any case, guys, that was a little unboxing of the Phillips Fidelio X2. Like I said, you probably won't need an amp to run these because they're only 30 ohms. Any headphone that is under 50 ohms, you probably won't have to drive it with an amp unless the cable has a high impedance. So yeah, and if that happens, just go on over to Vmoda, get one of their straight cables. They are amazing. They're not that expensive, and they will probably last you forever. They test the bejesus out of these things. And yeah, I can definitely recommend Vmoda and their M80s, if you like halfway decent on the go sound. So yes, that is an unboxing of the Phillips Fidelio X2 and kind of a side-by-side comparison physically with the Fidelio X1s. I love the X1s. I'm hoping that the X2s live up to my expectations. I'm going to give them a listen, and then I'll let you guys know how they actually sound in a bit. Cool. Thanks a lot. I'll be back in a bit with sound impressions. Or, you know what, I'll actually write a review and I'll put it in the description. Because I'm better at writing the actual description of the sound than describing it, strangely enough. So yeah, thanks a lot, guys, for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.